I'm still trying to wrap my head around all of the great new guns coming into the market this year. Our next guest is Justin Baldini from Colt, and he's going to show us what they have going on their end. What's going on, Justin?
Thanks a lot for having me. Of course, we're coming off of the Heels of SHOT Show where you and I both got to kind of walk the floor and see all the toys and spend next year's paycheck. We, Colt in particular, it's been a banner year for us. We launched 3 new models at the show. And then 2 of those models come in multiple calibers, and that's just in the 1911 platform. We're kind of going through a process over the last 18 months of rebuilding that 1911 product line. So, Colt's been a company that's had a lot of changes over the last couple of years, and we're just kind of trudging through it and getting to a place we want to be. So, I'll talk real quick about some of the things we've done. We did. On the 1911 side, we had a new Delta Elite railgun come out at SHOT this year. So this was a gun that people have been asking for, typically hunters or people looking for a personal protection gun out in bear country. Obviously, the big story here is it's 10 millimeter. It's a caliber that's large enough in a 1911 platform that you can go out and if you want to hunt with it, there's some people hunt all sorts of animals with it, but if you want to hunt pig down the south with it or something like that, and you want to mount a light on it, you can finally do that now with the Delta Elite. It was sort of a Colt classic gun for many years.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. And it's great to kind of see it in a format that makes a little more sense. And it's the M45 Marine gun format. So, the holsters that are out there already for that Marine gun are going to fit this. So you're
not going to have any problems with accessories, holsters, and so forth?
No, you can go to Blade Tech and you can just get a holster off the shelf, which is kind of critical when you're releasing new products like that.
Now, really quickly, just for people who don't know, I understand the Delta. I see that red triangle, and I'm like, So kind of really briefly, kind of give a background about the Delta and how it came about.
Well, the history of the 10 millimeter, it was an FBI cartridge initially. The FBI had sort of gone through this process where they were evaluating different cartridges. They sort of balked on adopting it. It didn't really ever get too far, and then we kind of went forward and released it commercially in the Delta Elite. As you know, they ended up inventing the 40 Smith & Wesson, sort of a shorter version of the same cartridge, and
some would say shorter and weaker, but.
Yeah, short and weak. That ended up being the adopted cartridge of the FBI for many years. And actually, I'm glad you brought that up because now, as we know, it's 9 millimeter, and that is a topic for us that's going to be important for the next 2 guns I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
Because one of the things we focused heavily on this year is kind of embracing that 9 millimeter culture. I think. For guys, frankly, our age, it's been a 9 millimeter world for years, and to take a company like Colt and sort of drag it into the modern era and get more 9 millimeters in the catalog was really important, and that's something we've worked on. So the next one I got to show you is the new Colt Competition Series in stainless. So we had this gun a year ago, in a full blue gun. It was sort of the gun that became the base of our new 1911 story. And look at the Lightweight Commander and the other guns that we released since. Those are the feature set of those guns was taken heavily for this. So we have the dual recoil spring system in there, extends spring life dramatically up to 3, 4, 5 times a single spring. We've got this Novak sighting system, kind of hard to tell on here, but it kind of looks like just a regular low mount carry Novak sight, but it's actually an adjustable sight. You can see the adjustment screw in there. So that was this is the first production gun that was actually available on. And like I said, the blued version of this gun was our best-selling product for 2016 by far. So now that we've got this in a stainless format, we expect to do very well. And about that 9 millimeter story, this is where all these guns that we're talking about that are available in 45 are going to be available in 9 millimeter.
Okay.
Also,
because I'm going to ask you that.
Yeah. And again, it's for guys our age, it's just a necessity. And Colt's long been sort of associated with that Colt 45. Yeah. It's part of the history and the culture of the company. But at the same time, you can get out, you can shoot more. Ammo's quite a bit cheaper, and frankly, shooting 9mm in a it's about a 36-ounce gun. Shooting 9mm in a gun like that is just comfortable. I mean, it's just pleasurable versus some of the lightweight polymer single stack you're kind of hanging on for dear life. So
it doesn't. I mean, range fatigue is real.
It absolutely is, and like you, a long time ago, I was kind of bit by that training bug, and everybody sort of has the same view on it, which is it depending on who you ask. It's 400 rounds or 4 o'clock, whichever comes sooner, and that's it. Everybody's done, and 9mm sort of extended that a bit, but it's a 9mm world, and you can ask any ammo producer, anybody anybody who's in that business, and they'll tell you that the numbers are heavily skewed in favor of 9mm.
Absolutely.
The next one I got is a real exciting one for maybe longtime fans of the company. Everybody's heard of the Colt Gold Cup. It was, for a long time, it was really a staple in bullseye shooting, sort of Camp Harry style bullseye shooting. Well, you and I both know it's there's a whole lot more action shooting going on today. And what we did was we took that same format and we updated it, to really a pistol that an action shooter is looking for. So this is really your premium gun that somebody can buy off the shelf, and they can go all the way up to a Bianchi Cup or any kind of action shooting pistol event, and they'll have the gun that they need to do it. And what we did was we, starting from the bottom, we have a factory magwell on this pistol, right from gun. Yep. We got 25 LPI checkering on the front strap, help you hold that gun and not slip around in your hands. And in the old days, people would put skateboard tape and ladder tape and stuff like that all over the guns. This is really a much better solution right from the factory. Again, with the Novak cut front sight, so now your sight options are sort of unlimited for changing that front sight, but it's a fiber optic sight from the factory, which is what most of the guys shooting this pistol are going to keep on there. And we kept that Bowmar rear sight. I mean, this is really the I would call it sort of the standard for
I was going to say something.
Adjustable competition sight. Yeah. And again, the internals of the pistol, we had that dual recoil spring system. We've got these nice Colt logo G10 grips. It's really it's become sort of the new package for Colt. That standard set of features.
Now, really quickly, I want to ask you about the dual recoil spring.
Yep.
Because you've said it a couple of times. I'm pretty sure there's people out there who are like, okay, what does that do?
What is it?
So let's talk about the dual recoil spring just a little bit.
Sure. It's kind of exactly what it sounds like. There's two recoil springs. There's a larger one wrapped around a smaller one inside the gun, and I'll show you real quick what that looks like. It was designed back when we did the M45 solicitation for the Marine Corps. They were trying to figure out a way, generally speaking, in a 1911, recoil spring life is, depending on who you ask, anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 rounds. You really don't get a whole lot more than that. After that, you're really beating up the gun if you're not changing the recoil spring. Now, when you have Marines out there that are shooting that heavier government ball ammo, you can't have them out there changing recoil springs at 3,000 rounds. It's just really not feasible. So what we did was we came up with this design, and what you have is you have two springs that are one's inside the other, and they're just wound different ways. Okay. One's wound one direction, one's wound around the other direction, so they're never going to get tangled or anything like that, and they just sort of ride inside of each other, and it takes the spring life from like I said 3 to 5 all the way up to 15, which is which now we're talking. Now a guy like Mark Rettel, who's our pro shooter here, he could probably at least make it a year on 15,000 rounds of spring life. So, but sort of the unintended consequence of the whole thing, we did it for spring life for the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. But sort of the unintended consequence of it also was it really actually tames the gun down a little bit. It sort of makes a little flatter shooting, a little easier to manage that recoil and get those follow-up shots and kind of follow the sight a little better.
Probably a little imperceptible to somebody who only shoots like once a year, but when you shoot pretty decently, you'll notice it.
Yeah, and we had a good buddy of mine who you had on your show, I think a couple weeks ago, Larry Vickers. He was up up doing a 1911 class up by here, and we had given a bunch of loaner guns to some guys who had flown in from overseas. So they, it was easier to take loaners than it was to bring their own pistols, and we actually gave them competition guns because that's what I happened to have a bunch of, and they all kind of commented. They were like, "Hey, whoa, this is pretty nice." And actually, we ended up kind of working out a deal where we sent some over to their country.
Yeah.
We're actually working on a sale right now to send some over there. So, for anybody who shoots 1911 kind of pretty seriously and who's really into that level of the gun, you'll notice it. That's for sure. And you won't just notice it in the spring life. You will actually notice it
in the recoil of the gun and the way the gun flips and holds flat.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Or anything else?
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's on the 1911 side. On the the Gold Cup in particular, the other big story there is that'll be available on 9 and 45. So it's the first time we've ever done a Gold Cup in 9mm. That's something people have been asking for a long time. Yeah. We are also changing the barrel structure on this pistol, and I think this one actually happens to be 9mm. We are changing the barrel structure on the 9mm Gold, or I shouldn't say changing it. I mean, it's going to come with a full profile 9mm barrel, and what that does for you is now when you're shooting that pistol, you're adding a little bit of weight, kind of perfectly in line with the bore. I mean, it is the bore, and you're adding a little bit of weight up there, and you use a 45 bushing up front, and the outer profile of the barrel is the same as the 45 barrel, and I can tell you that again, action shooters and the guys out there shooting these pistols quite a bit, they are going to love this new barrel structure because you really do feel that difference. Awesome. And they'll be able to kind of shoot just a little bit faster.
Gotcha.
And of course, I think probably the one that you're kind of asking about, which is the one that everybody's sort of asking about, is Colt's back in the double action revolver business. So this is this is sort of a secret squirrel project we've been working on for a while, and finally we're able to take it out and show it to the public, and we're going to be shipping these little beauties. Actually, I could say next month because we're still in January.
We have any idea on price?
We do. It's $6.99. It's going to be $6.99 retail. Couple cool features. Kind of the Colt aficionados might notice, hey, it looks a lot like some of the guns you made in the past, and it does. We started with some of our later double action designs as a base gun, and what we did was we updated a couple things to really for the sake of ergonomics. I mean, revolvers in general don't seem to have great ergonomics, but I can tell you, you'll pick up this one and it sort of straightens out your finger a little bit. When you grab that Hogue grip, it feels pretty good. The trigger itself is a lot straighter than a lot of the older Colt revolvers. They had a really curved trigger, which kind of did some funny things with your finger when you're pulling the trigger. Yep. And then on the front, of course, we've actually got this comes with a fiber optic front sight, but it's actually user changeable. There's a little hex screw that I'm not sure if you can see right there that you can take out, and you can pull this out, and and if you want to put a night sight or something like that, here's a version that's got a night sight. You just drop it right in there and put that hex screw back in there. So awesome. It's pretty cool little package. Of course, the thing that we're going to be measured on is our trigger pull, and can't get around that. We're kind of known. Our revolvers are kind of legendary for that. So we spent a lot of time working on that. It is a leaf spring design, which is like many of our older models were. It is a 6-shot. Because this is America, and a little bit of more ammo is better. So, and again, it's 38 special only, and that was very intentional. I'm not sure if you've had a ton of time shooting these sort of super lightweight 357 Magnum revolvers, but you sure.
It sounds a bit painful.
Yeah, you shoot one cylinder and you're like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's going to live in my dresser drawer for a while. Versus something like this is actually shootable, and you can take it to the range and you can go shoot it. It's actually a pleasurable experience rather than something that's kind of painful
Awesome.
and not fun.
Well, thank you very much, Justin. I mean, man, there was a flurry of different products. Man, you guys are really kicking them out. But no, I'm really looking forward to getting some of those in hand, so I'm actually looking forward to the revolvers too, which is interesting. Most people don't really know me for being a revolver guy, but a couple of those really kind of struck my interest. So really looking forward to that. Actually, be sure to join us again with some more. Anytime you come out with new stuff, please, you're always welcome to come on the show and show off guns. I'm all about the showing off of guns. We can do that all day long.
And it's been a real pleasure. And I just want to kind of on a more personal note, I kind of started following you a little bit back in 2013 when you sort of popped on the scene a little bit. And at the time, we were, here in Connecticut, we were kind of in the fight for our lives, with our state legislature, like a lot of other people were. And I kind of saw everything you did out there, and I saw the way you put yourself out there, and you really kind of became the voice of that generation for the Second Amendment. And I really just kind of wanted to personally thank you for that on behalf of other people here and myself.
Thank you very much, man. That means a lot. Really appreciate it, man. Well, thank you very much, Justin.
Welcome.
Again, my open invite stands. You got some new stuff, bring it on the show.
Absolutely, man.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Justin. You have a good one.
All right, take care.
All right. So coming up after this break, see what guns and gear editor Frank Wynn has been testing and shooting.